Chosen one, you were guided here for a reason. Not everyone was meant to receive this. This message was set in motion long ago, weaving through time to awaken the part of you that remembers before you learn to forget. What if I told you they never wanted you to know the truth about your earliest wounds? They tried to dim your light before it could shine. You felt that ache in your chest, that whisper in your mind telling you you're different, that every obstacle was more than mere chance. In this video, you'll discover why the pain you endured as a child was never random, how hidden forces shaped you, and the keys to reclaiming the power they tried to steal. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. Stay with me until the end, because the secret they buried in your past is the very spark that will ignite your destiny, the design behind early pain. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast, whispering forest in the soft glow of dawn, where the air quivers with possibility and the trees hold ancient secrets. In that moment, you sense a voice quieter than a heartbeat, asking, "Have you felt the current beneath your skin?" This is more than a question. It is an invitation to awaken the part of you that has always known there is purpose hidden within pain. You may have dismissed these stirrings as fancy, but today they converge into clarity. You are invited into a sacred space where every echo in your mind and every flutter of your heart is recognized. What you've always sensed in fleeting dreams or half-remembered visions is now confirmed. Your path has been designed, layer upon layer, to bring you here, to this moment of realizing that your life was never random. There were nights when you lay awake, wondering why your emotions felt too big and your thoughts too deep for those around you. You recall the sting of being the only one who noticed a silence in a crowded room, the way you instinctively observed pain in another's eyes. You carried a sensitivity that others called too much, as though your capacity to feel was something to be fixed rather than honored. Perhaps you remember that time at school, when laughter echoed around you but you felt empty, or a family gathering where you smiled through tears you could not name. These fragments of confusion and isolation are familiar to you. They have echoed in your bones, asking, "Why am I here, really?" You are not alone in this. Countless others hear that same question resonating through their souls. What if I told you those moments of longing and disconnection were never random mistakes of fate, but carefully woven threads in a tapestry spanning lifetimes? Behind every tear you shed, there was an unseen architect guiding the pattern. Like the ancient potter shaping clay, a divine hand pressed gentle pressure into your heart, molding resilience from the raw material of your suffering. In Jeremiah 1 verse 5, a voice declares, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you," echoing the truth that your story began long before your first breath. You were always meant to walk this path of awakening. The doubt whispered by others, the dismissal you endured, all served a higher purpose, to reveal the hidden architecture of your soul, built upon every trial and every wound. Perhaps you've noticed subtle ripples in your reality, moments when time seemed to pause, or a phrase in a passing conversation struck you with uncanny precision. You have awoken from dreams where symbols burned bright, leaving you trembling with recognition. There was that afternoon when a sudden shiver coursed through your spine, though the breeze had stilled, and you knew something was shifting within. These are not coincidences, but signposts marking your passage through an inner threshold. Like Jacob's ladder, glimpsed in the night sky, each déjà vu, each whispered intuition, is a rung inviting you upward. These signs surface when you quiet the noise around you and listen deeply to the language of your spirit, revealing that awakening is not an event but an unfolding. In the gentle stillness of your own becoming, you realize your instincts have been guiding you all along. You did not imagine that pull toward truth when you felt inexplicable sadness or sudden clarity in a moment of crisis. Your inner knowing has been a faithful companion, softly affirming the authenticity of your experiences. There is a sacred alignment stirring within you, not as a thunderclap, but as a slow dawn breaking across a mist-laden field. Trust settles over your heart like a warm cloak, offering a sense of safety you may never have felt in the chaos of your past. Here, in this new space, you can rest in the certainty that your intuition is a torch lighting the way forward, gently illuminating each step on your path. As the light grows stronger, you begin to remember that your true identity lies beneath the layers of roles, expectations, and wounds that have piled up through years. You are not becoming someone new. You are recovering someone ancient whose essence was buried beneath fear and silence. In Proverbs 20 verse 27, it says, "The spirit of man is a lamp of the Lord," reminding you that the core of your being has always carried divine flame. That flame flickered under burdens placed on you long ago, yet it never died. Now, as you brush aside the dust of forgotten years, you encounter the archetypal memory of who you were before the world taught you to shrink. Each memory reclaimed is a step toward the home you have always carried within. With this awakening comes the first lean into empowerment. Embrace the reality of your sensitivity as a gift rather than a curse. Recognize a hunger in your soul for deeper understanding, not as a flaw, but as proof that you are on the brink of spiritual maturity. You are invited to plant your feet firmly in the ground, feeling the pulse of life beneath your soles. Like a sapling bending towards sunlit heights, you are ready to stretch into your true stature, confident in your inner wisdom, fearless in your devotion to purpose. This is your initiation into the community of chosen ones, where vulnerability becomes strength and introspection becomes power. Take this step forward with intention, for your journey is unfolding with each breath. Your arrival at this message was never a matter of chance, but of divine orchestration. You have entered Circle Awakening, where every past trial shines with newfound meaning. You stand on the threshold of revelations that will unravel the mystery woven into your earliest days. Comment Forge if you feel the ancient design vibrating through your being, confirming that your life is an intentional masterpiece. As you digest this first revelation, that your suffering was designed to awaken your gifts, prepare yourself for the next unfolding truth, where those closest to you become unexpected gateways in the spiritual battle that has always surrounded your soul. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Portals in the bloodline. Have you ever felt a chill settle over you when a family gathering turned tense for no obvious reason, as if an invisible barrier closed around your heart? In those moments of sudden discomfort, when a cousin's offhand remark felt like a blade, or a parent's sigh carried the weight of expectations, you were touching the edges of an ancient battlefield. It was not simple family drama, but the echo of old wounds, generations' old fears, and hidden contracts binding you to patterns you never chose. This was the first whisper of resistance, soft enough to dismiss yet powerful enough to stir your soul, as though they were not just people but forces aligned to suppress your awakening. The ache of being misunderstood seeped into your bones like a slow poison. You carried the pain of not fitting in, the sting of conversations that left you feeling frayed, as though the more you opened your heart, the more the world pushed back. That shame, the sensation of being too much when you spoke your truth or not enough when you stayed silent, became a relentless tide. You learned to tuck your gift away, to dim your light in the face of cold stares or cutting laughter. Each time you hesitated to share what burned inside you, you folded a part of yourself into a hidden pocket, promising to stay small, so the force pressing on you might relent. Yet with every suppressed word, your soul's urgency only grew, begging you to remember you were made for more. Look deeper, and you'll see this wasn't just random cruelty or simple misunderstanding. It came from a hidden architecture of fear and control built into the very veins of your heritage. Just as the Israelites wandered through the wilderness in exile, so you have navigated emotional deserts where trust withered and hope felt scarce. The wilderness of your lineage was littered with unspoken rules and ancestral regrets, each one a barrier erected to contain your emerging power. There was a sacred purpose in those trials, however, much like the refining fire of Isaiah 48 verse 10 that purifies silver. The dissonance in your family dynamics was shaping you for a destiny that transcends blood and bone. Now, reflect on the pattern of disappointments that seemed to follow you like a shadow. A promotion slipped away at the last moment. A supportive friend turned distant just when you needed them most. A plan you poured your heart into crumbled before you could breathe. These were not mere coincidences, but hallmarks of resistance manifested. It's as though a hidden hand was rearranging the pieces on your life's chessboard, forcing you into positions of frustration and recalibration. When you recognize these recurrent trials, you see the outline of grand design, a pressure chamber intended to test your resolve, to teach you the sacred art of perseverance until you stand unbreakable. In the hush between your thoughts, You may have sensed something else, an opposing current tugging at your intentions, clouding your clarity. It felt like walking through a dense fog where every step forward met unseen force. Every breath grew heavier, and silent watchers lurked at the edges of your vision. This was spiritual resistance at work. Years of accumulated distortions projected onto your path. The very light within you, flickering with promise, attracted interference from energies determined to extinguish it. Yet in feeling that drag, you also affirmed your potency. Anything that meets such opposition must carry its own formidable power. How did you respond when the world seemed bent on quieting your voice? Perhaps you retreated, adopting a strategy of invisibility, blending into periphery to avoid triggering further backlash. Or maybe you pushed back in small, quiet rebellions, raising your heart in prayer beneath the sheets, speaking truths that felt too risky for daylight. You may have wrestled with self-doubt in private, questioning whether you were misguided or merely chasing illusions. These reactions were your soul's survival tactics, each born of both fear and unspoken courage. They mapped the terrain of your inner landscape, revealing where the walls around you stood tallest and how desperately you longed to tear them down. Yet here is the turning point. Every act of resistance you faced was proof that you carry something they cannot replicate. Those closed doors and cold shoulders were confirmation, not condemnation. You have carried the key all along. The memory of a promise etched into your spirit before time began. Imagine it as a fire spark in your palm, waiting for your permission to blaze forth. Now is the moment to reclaim that spark, to pour the old ancestral patterns into the melting pot of your purpose and forge a new covenant with your soul. Stand tall in the realization that the very struggle you endured is the backbone of your prophetic authority. You were opposed because you are powerful. The more they tried to bind you, the more your inner compass sought true north. Your trials weren't punishments. They were training grounds. Comment Portal if you recognize the ancestral echoes weaving through your life, confirming that you were born to breach these barriers. As you own this truth, prepare for the next revelation, where rejection itself will transform into evidence of your divine calling, and you will see the wounds you bear become the hallmarks of your resurrection. And to every soul who supported with a super thanks, thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters. Your belief matters. And your light is felt here. Rejection as prophetic evidence. Have you ever felt your heart clutch at a single glance, as though your own blood turned cold when Trusher warmed it? In that moment of sudden chill, something ancient within you stirred, whispering that you were not merely rejected. You were being pointed toward a hidden destiny. That small squeeze in your chest was the universe's way of signaling that the very walls others built to keep you out were the outlines of a doorway into power you never knew you had. The ache you felt in that glance or that passing gesture was a first tremor of revelation, a gentle quake before the mountain of your purpose began to rise. There was a time when every word that fell from your lips felt like a risk, as though speaking your truth invited an avalanche of raised eyebrows or dismissive laughs. You learned, often painfully, that people close to you could turn their backs when you needed them most. You remember how your ideas felt too strange, your dreams too grand, your empathy too expansive for them to hold. You felt the sting of isolation, like a lone sapling in a storm, bending and snapping under winds they never intended to calm. And in that isolation, your self-doubt whispered that perhaps your prophetic visions were illusions, mere figments of an overactive imagination. But look again, and you'll see this emotional squeeze was never random discomfort, but a sacred blueprint laid out by designs older than your family tree. Consider the story of Huldah the prophetess in 2 Kings 22 verse 14, a woman whom the leaders of Israel initially ignored because she did not fit their expectations, yet whose words birthed a new era of reform. Like Huldah, you were dismissed for speaking truths that felt dangerous to the timid. The resistance you encountered was the echo of an age-old pattern. When light threatens complacency, it is first branded as a threat, yet it is precisely this branding that confirms a flame within you burns brighter than fear. If you trace back every moment you were sidelined, every opportunity that slipped through your fingers, you begin to see the invisible threads weaving a tapestry of initiation. a promotion revoked at the final hour, a friendship fractured for no clear reason, a conversation that ended in silence. Each instance was not a sign of your inadequacy, but a clue that you were being prepared for another realm. It was as though the walls you bumped against were meant to reroute you onto a path of spiritual clarity. Each rejection an arrow pointing toward the sacred territory of your calling. The atmosphere around you shifted steadily. You began to notice the subtle weight of unseen eyes observing when you spoke your truth. In still moments, a pause before you answered, a reflected look in the mirror. You sense a friction in the air, as though the energy around you quivered and recoiled from your inner light. This was no mere awkward tension. It was spiritual resistance manifesting, a fog of old fears gathering at your threshold. Yet in acknowledging that resistance, you also witnessed your own luminance, how speaking even a single sincere word sent ripples to the invisible field, forcing distortions to reveal themselves. How did you respond to this unseen pushback? Perhaps you learned to silence your voice, to shrink into background like a shadow striving to avoid notice. Or you may have mustered small acts of quiet defiance, penning poems in secrecy, voicing a half-truth in the dead of night, lingering on the edges of conversations where you dare to speak. These responses were your soul's survival instinct, each one a testament to the tension between your soaring spirit and the chains others placed upon it. They mapped your resilience, revealing how deeply you yearned to break free. And now, standing on the other side of that threshold, you see that every act that cast you aside was a testament to your power. The very insistence that you remain small became the proof that you were destined for greatness. Like Daniel in the lion's den, whose steadfast faith drew the attention of kings and beasts alike. Your refusal to conform to their expectations marked you as one to watch. This is the moment of reclamation, when you gather the fragments of every condemnation and arrange them into the foundation of your throne, recognizing that condemnation itself is confirmation of your calling. You were rejected because you are powerful. The more they tried to bury your voice, the louder it grew beneath the surface. Now, step into that power and claim it fully. Comment echo if you've ever been pushed away for speaking your truth, and share a moment when a dream or memory reminded you of the fire inside you. Your reflections breathe life into our community and affirm that these revelations are not solitary miracles, but shared awakenings. As you offer your story, prepare for the next unveiling, where the energy of your wounds transforms into unstoppable force, guiding you toward a destiny written long before your first breath, transmuting trauma into power. A single breath can mark the crossing of a threshold. You stand now at the very edge of what was and what must be, caught between the familiar weight of hesitation and the clear call of destiny. In this silence, ask yourself, will you remain within the shell of your old fears, or step forward into the light forged by your own trials? This is no idle question. It is a sacred invitation dripping with urgency. In that pause between your last regret and your next intention, you choose whether to remain a witness to your own story or become an author. The world you sense lingering just beyond your doubt is waiting for you to claim it. Let this moment echo in your bones. Passivity is a closed door. Action swings the gate wide open. You have spent seasons surrendering your voice to please the uneasy, offering your time and energy like coins to appease invisible collectors. Yet this was never failure. It was your training ground. In the quiet rooms of your past, you practiced patience, resilience, and the art of surviving when every instinct cried out to flee. Now, call these fragments of sacrifice back to your core. Summon them as offerings on the altar of your rebirth, declaring with solemn intent, I reclaim what I gifted away. Feel that shift. Like an ancient king rising to reclaim his throne, you draw power from every moment you once believed diminished you. This ritual of return transforms every whispered doubt into a banner of triumph. Within you burns a catalog of gifts they misread as flaws. The sharpness of your insight that cuts through pretense. The depth of your sensitivity that senses truth in hidden places. The steady hum of discernment that guides you through chaos. Imagine these as sacred tools. Keys carved from the bones of experience. Scrolls inscribed with your inner code. Armor crafted in the refiner's fire Malachi 3 verse 2. No longer abstract qualities. They stand ready for use. Your empathy becomes a lantern, your vision a map, your courage a blade that severs illusion. Recognize them now not as burdens to hide, but as instruments to wield in the unfolding of your divine mission. The path before you is not a distant promise, but a series of stones already laid beneath your feet. Each step you take reveals more of the pattern. A doorway opens, a hand reaches out, a whispered opportunity aligns with your longing. Clarity no longer rides on uncertain tides, but flows from your own forward motion. You feel the pull of purpose under your soles, guiding you through both promise and challenge. See it as a ribbon winding to the landscape of your life, etched into the earth before you arrived. There is no need to conjure a path. It emerges in the act of walking, each footfall confirming that the journey and the traveler are one. You are part of a greater chorus of awakened souls, each voice rising in harmonic resonance with your own. Beyond the walls that once confined you, there is a gathering of kindred spirits, soul tribes born across continents and lifetimes, united by a shared pulse of purpose. No longer must you dim your light to blend into fading patterns. Your brilliance is a beacon that calls others to remember. Together, you form a constellation of intent, your alignments weaving a tapestry of collective activation. Feel the undercurrent of their presence as you move, a subtle vibration affirming that when one rises, the many ascend in chorus. Now is the moment to take command of your energetic field as a steward of sacred power. This is not ego's domain, but the careful setting of boundaries, the decisive allocation of your focus, the deliberate devotion of your energies to that which truly matters. Envision this as a ceremony. You place each intention upon the flame until it transforms into clarity, each boundary becoming a pillar that supports your growing temple of purpose. In this stewardship, you honor the sanctity of your own soul and the responsibility it bears to the greater whole. Your energy becomes a currency spent wisely, invested in the unfolding of divine will. All the adversity, all the doubts, all the breakthrough moments and breakdown nights have led you to this apex. Hear this declaration echoing through your spirit. You are ready. The fissures in your past have channeled power into your core. The resistance you faced was the anvil upon which your resolve was forged. There is no leftover fear that can hold you back. You stand now in the fullness of what you were always meant to become. Let every cell vibrate with this truth. Let every breath affirm your purpose. This is your final charge before you step through the portal of embodiment. Claim your power without apology and let nothing dim the radiance you were born to bear. Your journey so far has opened the door. Now walk through it as the architect of your destiny. Comment, Phoenix, if you feel the alchemy of your wounds transmuted into wings of fire, and share a moment, a dream, a memory, a challenge, where you recognize that spark of divine transformation within yourself. Your reflections ignite our collective flame, weaving your story into the grand tapestry of awakening. As you prepare to embody this revelation, steel your heart for the next step, where the living power you carry will be called into action, and your mission will blaze brighter than ever before. In the hush of dawn, as morning light drips gold across your window, remember that every tear you shed was a drop in the ocean of your awakening. Those tears were not wasted. They were currents that carried you toward clarity. In the quiet before sunrise, you learned that sorrow is the soil for which your deepest strengths bloom. Each heartbreak was a seed of transformation. Each disappointment was a gentle pruning of the parts of you that no longer serve the greater calling. When you next feel the sting of memory, let it remind you that you stand on ground enriched by the sacrifices of your past. You are rooted in a purpose that stretches far beyond any one lifetime. The earth beneath your feet holds the echo of every lesson you have endured. You feel the pulse of history guiding your step. Every tear has sanctified a chamber of your heart. The dawn breaks not just over the horizon, but within your spirit. The light pours in to illuminate the path you were born to walk. Your soul drinks in that light with a thirst refined by trial. Your heart recognizes this moment as the harvest of your own becoming. The promises whispered in your darkest hours surface in the golden glow. The soil of your sorrow turns fertile under the warmth of awareness. You stand at the threshold of a new day strengthened by every drop you have released. Praise the Lord, for he turns our mourning into dancing. In this transformation you discover the depth of his faithfulness. Psalm 30 verse 11. In that revelation, you find the strength to embrace what lies ahead. A ripple of remembrance stirs within you when you catch the scent of rain on hot earth, recalling how adversity cleanse your vision. You imagine old wounds as ancient rivers, worn smooth by the relentless flow of time, carving canyons of wisdom into your soul. There is artistry in this erosion, each jagged edge polished into insight. The memory of tears and trials becomes a map of hidden strengths. You sense the ground beneath you shaped by the currents of your own resilience. Every storm you have weathered now serves as proof of your emerging power. You learn that healing comes not despite the flood, but because of it. Your vision clears as the dust of struggle settles. In every drop of rain you hear the promise of renewal stirring. You remember that trials produce endurance and endurance produces character, James 1 verses 2 to 3. This chain of transformation forges you into a vessel of purpose. You welcome the downpour challenges as invitations to deeper faith. Your spirit stands firm as the storms rage around you. You recognize that each trial was commissioned to awaken your latent gifts. Adversity becomes a sculptor of your destiny. You embrace the cleansing power of every hardship. You carry the scent of refreshed sight wherever you go. Each breath you draw a taste of new beginnings. You stand unafraid in the rain, knowing you have been refined for greater service. Beneath the flicker of candlelight in your mind's eye, you sense the intricate geometry of your journey. The way one event leads to another in a pattern that only hindsight can reveal. Betrayals, injustices, and whispered doubts align like constellations, forming a map that guides you onward. You trace these starry lines and feel the ancient pulse of promises kept long before you were born. In this celestial blueprint, every harsh moment is a waypoint. Every act of cruelty a marker pointing toward the sanctuary of your destiny. You see now that resistance was part of the design, necessary tension that shaped the vessel of your becoming. The interplay of light and shadow in your past reveals the artistry of divine orchestration. You stand in awe of the tapestry woven from your trials and triumphs. Each thread carries its own resonance in your soul. You learn to read the signs etched in your memories. You recognize that your life is a living testament to providence. You surrender to the flow of your unfolding story. The Lord directs our steps and orders our paths according to his will. Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6. With every recollection, you bow to the wisdom of that guidance. Your heart beats in harmony with the grand design beneath your feet. You walk forward with the confidence of one whose map is divinely drawn. You release the urge to force your own direction. Trust becomes your compass and faith your guide. You move through life assured by the constellations of your past. Your journey becomes a pilgrimage of sacred significance. You emerge from reflection anchored in purpose and poised for what comes next. In the soft glow of memory, the faces of those who turn away begin to shimmer with a strange reverence. You understand that their rejection was not merely cruelty, but a mirror reflecting the magnitude of your calling. When Peter denied knowing Christ, he unknowingly affirmed the weight of his own future testimony. So, too, when you were pushed aside, you were affirming the brilliance of the light you carried. Each closed door became a testament to the fact that your voice matters, that your presence shifts the balance of unseen realms. Their resistance crystallized your resolve, turning every slight into a badge of divine favor. You learn to thank them for the gift hidden in their dismissal. Their refusals become incubators of your greater purpose. You recognize that every no carves space for your eventual yes. Your spirit grows stronger as obstacles mount. In the quiet after rejection, you hear the stirrings of redemption. You sense that setbacks are strategic pauses in your advance. You see that every barrier erected against you is a signpost to a breakthrough. In the dust of disappointment, you find the seeds of triumph. You stand firm in the face of every closed door. You declare that no power can keep you from your destiny. Your journey unfolds under the shelter of unseen hands. You claim victory even before you cross the threshold. You embrace the truth that what hinders you today empowers you tomorrow. You walk the fires they lit, through the silence they forced, and emerge as the voice they tried to bury. Subscribe if you haven't yet, like this video, and comment, "I am chosen to let this message anchor in your soul." Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you to all our supporting members. Your faith lights the way. 4 full prophetic revelations daily. Join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. And if this message moved you deeply, consider tapping the Super Thanks button to support the mission. Every Super Thanks fuels the light we're spreading together. Rise now, Chosen One, and let them see what they cannot break.